Jin Zava Lama Jiji Kuzon Doji Zinlan Dada Dage Julan Pede Dage Dembada Sumjin Je Donja Jimbon Rebara Zinje Labda Zo Danan Zara Tamje De Lama Lapu Laye Jiso Zon Lawson Yun Din Jam Zunga La Wang Din Je Donjin Rebe Gele Zo. Dear Dharma friends, many Tashidele, as the Garchen Buddhist Institute has arranged, today I will share some of my experience about His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. Actually, I cannot express his qualities, realization, and remarkable activities with my ordinary words, especially when we elucidate our Guru's qualities. First, one's own perception should be very pure. As Vajrayana view, all appearances should be the deities. All the sound should be mantra, and all the thoughts should be dharmakaya. If I have this, if we have this, then we can speak clearly about the Guru's quality in their full extent. Whether I am able to completely maintain the Vajrayana view or not, this is a precious opportunity to speak about my root Guru. In reality, the Guru does not exist outside of our minds, because our innate awareness and the Guru's intrinsic awareness are always the same, and also the Guru's intrinsic awareness is over Dharmakaya Guru. Guru's clear knowing is over Sambhogakaya Guru. Guru's activities of compassion and bodhicitta for us are over Nimanakaya. Therefore, we cannot find the Trikayas beyond the Guru. So when we realize this, then we will be able to see the Guru as the Trikayas. But for those of us who cannot see this reality, the Guru appears to have a more ordinary life. Truly, I still cannot fathom all Rinpoche's activities for the welfare of other sentient beings. But I will try to share what I have seen and what I have experienced, like small drops of water from the vast ocean. It is a great opportunity for me to have spent time with Rinpoche, eating, drinking, sitting together, especially as he is over 80 years old. It is the right moment to receive key instructions. What I mean is that if he were young, he would have a lot to do besides giving key instructions. In reality, he gives profound instructions each and every time he speaks through his brilliant compassion and bodhicitta. Like a magnet uh, in drawing in metal objects from amidst other things. We have to take his deep instructions from his teachings and even regular speech. This is of utmost importance, whether we have spent many years or short time with Rinpoche. If we can do that, then, as Lord Jigten Sunggon said, I have no thought that I followed the Guru for a short time because I received instructions that were what I needed, and I'm putting them into practice. So I often think that the main thing is to keep Guru's instructions at the bottom of the heart and to utilize them all the time, no matter what your circumstance. Now I'm going to share my experience of Rinpoche through his 4 qualities. These are the qualities of enlightened form, the qualities of enlightened speech, the qualities of enlightened mind, the qualities of enlightened activities. First, Rinpoche's quality of enlightened form. What I have heard is that for many years, Rinpoche did not ever lie down at night. When I was a child, one morning, my father called me and he said, "Get up. You have slept whole night. Now the sun has risen over your head. Still you are sleeping." Garchen Rinpoche never lied down the whole night, and still he would continue to practice in the early morning. So when I was a child, I often pictured that Garchen Rinpoche means a person who doesn't need to sleep. Now, what I notice in him especially is Rinpoche's straight posture. Whether he sits on the throne or in a chair or on the floor, he always sits straight. Never swaying or leaning against anything. This is not just for one day or 1 hour. This is how he has carried himself whole life. Why I do so admire Rinpoche continually holding this posture? Because in the Buddha's teaching, it is the essential point of physical practice. When we praise the Buddha, we say, "Through your unwavering straight posture, you attain nirvana." So we pay homage to you. This example is from a supplication to the Buddha by Nagarjuna. Buddha also said that a straight spine leads to straight winds, and straight winds cause a clear mind, and then automatically emotional defilements reduced. So, practice is not something you do one time. Practice means you continuously do it until change this body. Of course, until become enlightened. So Rinpoche does this exactly with his body. So I admire this about him. This is also the key to the 6 yoga of Naropa to develop tummo, fire, and so on. Second, we all know that when we imagine Garchen Rinpoche, what appears first in our minds is him spinning the prayer wheel from him. Prayer wheel. Why does this so easily appear to us? Because it is inseparable from him. As well, you know, he spends it during the teaching or when he is working, eating, and sitting. In brief, Rinpoche has 3 things which are inseparable from his body. These are his prayer wheel, yogi's meditation belt, and liberation upon seeing birthless. Perhaps we see these 3 things as very ordinary. In a way, this makes sense because his prayer wheel is simply made of wood, right? The belt is just a red cloth, and the bracelets are plastic. However, if we understand the significance of each of them, then we can comprehend how perfectly he has practiced his entire life. Rinpoche wears a yogi's meditation belt inseparably from his body. This shows his mindfulness in meditation is never lost. Rinpoche's prayer wheel spins non-stop in his hand. This displays his compassion and bodhicitta radiating endlessly throughout space. Rinpoche wears the liberation on sight bracelets continuously. This means his Dharma activities liberate mother sentient beings tirelessly. This is what I think often when I pay attention to these things. You know about the benefits of the prayer wheel and bracelets. If you would like to know about the meditation belt, it is the representation of the Ashobhya Buddha among the 5 family Buddhas. It is also the representation of the perfection of concentration among the 6 perfection or paramitas. In the Kagyu lineage, it is the representation of the method of great bliss, and so on. You can wear it at night to help you remain upright while you sleep. And there are many other benefits and explanations. Perhaps some may think Rinpoche's meditation belt is just a bag. Yes, it it serves as a bag, but this has no mobile phone and no wallet. But in it, he carries amulets and blazing bomb. Everybody knows bomb, right? That protects from disease and obstacles. Actually, these things that Rinpoche carries are very simple, but they have a great benefit for others. If we only know this about Rinpoche, we will have no doubt our Bodhisattva has come to help us. Also, one of my many favorite things that Rinpoche does is when he is walking on the road, he moves aside the stones. These directly benefit cars and people. Indirectly, it is a longevity practice for oneself. So we don't want to miss out on this kind of practice for mutual benefits. Sometimes I image Rinpoche and do the same. Also, Rinpoche legs, right? Legs, his plate and bowls. Because Rinpoche says it will save water and the time of the dishwashers. These small actions is backed by a flood of bodhicitta from the great wisdom of his Dharma mind. During pujas, Rinpoche performs mudaras very openly and precisely. I have observed two special reasons for this. First, Rinpoche compassionately makes it easy for new Sangha member to follow along. Second, Rinpoche always performs the mudras exactly where it is indicated in the text. This shows his closeness to the Yidam deities. Actually, Rinpoche and Yidam deities are always together. Rinpoche himself said that one time Tara touched his crown. This was in the United States. I'm not talking about a story of his previous life. All of these different facets of physical discipline are part of what I see. And second, Rinpoche's quality of enlightened speech. Rinpoche's principal quality of speech is his Dharma teaching. His Dharma teachings are very easy to understand, but very profound in meaning. I can confidently say that through the power of his teachings, many disciples are being liberated. The other elements of Rinpoche's quality of speech are he always recites prayers before meals. This is offering to the three jewels and so on. And after meals, he prays for hungry ghosts. He does this always, no matter how hungry or thirsty he is. But when Rinpoche notices that we are hungry or thirsty, then his prayers are short and fast. This is how much he thinks of and cares for others, even when it comes to small things. Actually, many practitioners do the offering prayers and the dedication prayers before and after meals. But the reason I am mentioning Rinpoche's practice of these particularly is that for him, there is no different day and time when he doesn't unfallingly do that. So it drew my admiration. Sometimes I think that his unfalling offering to the Yidam deities means that they are never parted from Rinpoche's mind. Also, many of us ignore virtuous activities after we have a full stomach. Maybe. If you are not, then I'm sorry. I'm like kind of that. But Rinpoche always dedicating after his meal demonstrates how certain is his compassion. When Rinpoche works on the path, for example, circumambulating the stupa, he always says prayers, but sometimes he will say some parts more loudly and it seems like a joke. But that time, if you focus carefully, then you will realize he is giving you a very profound instruction. Actually, most instructions are received from gurus in ways like this. After we receive them, we hold on to them. As Milarepa said, the guru's instructions should dissolve in the mind like a salt dissolve into water. If we do that, then Guru's instruction can change our life. When Rinpoche recites prayers or sadhana during the dripchins or other practices, he clearly pays attention to the inner meaning of the text. Rinpoche always does that. I think this is a great meditation which improves the quality of Dharma wisdom. If we learn only this from Rinpoche, it will give us great benefits. Otherwise, our recitation practice can become like parrots reciting Mani Mantra. This means they can make the sounds, but they don't understand the meaning. The difference is that, for instance, when we listen to a song, if we listen only to the melody or we hear the meaning of the words, there will be a big difference in our feeling for the song. Anyhow, I will not go into any more details of how deep his teachings are and how much they benefit us, because you have experienced this very clearly for yourselves. In short, if you understand the deep meaning of his teachings, that is utmost importance. Rinpoche's deep words comes from his enlightened mind. Third, Rinpoche's quality of enlightened mind. When we talk about qualities of enlightened mind of the Guru, we have to talk about view, meditation, and conduct. First, regarding Rinpoche's view, I have never for a single moment had any doubt that Rinpoche has fully realized the view of Mahamudra and Dzogpa, because in my mind, Rinpoche is a living Buddha. Also, we can approach in understanding of how high is his view by the way he speaks and practices selflessness and bodhicitta. Second, regarding Rinpoche's meditation, he is always in meditation, day and night. During the daytime, as I mentioned earlier, he is in meditation through the activities of his body, speech, and mind. If I make sense of it for you in simple terms, Rinpoche does everything with mindfulness, as Lord Jigten Sungkun says. If you are skilled in mindfulness, then you are skilled in meditation. In the night time, when Rinpoche goes to sleep, he maintains the Om Ahong Vajra recitation. And whenever he wakes up in the night, Rinpoche practices everything that he instructs us to do. About Rinpoche's conduct, he is completely dissolved into bodhicitta. No matter how many challenges and difficulties, his smiles of bodhicitta radiate on his face. His joyfulness is the sign of his bodhicitta. For example, in the early morning, we are all a little bit foggy because of the imprinting of deep sleep in the night. But Rinpoche comes to the Lama house and hugs us and joyfully says something, and then everybody becomes fresh. But during the time of COVID-19, we don't let him hug us. Maybe soon he will be able to hug us. And also, if somebody has a very unpleasant wound with a pulse that even they are unwilling to touch with their own hands, when they ask Rinpoche for blessing, he touches it unhesitatingly. But not only does he touch it, he blows on it and kisses it, as well through his bodhicitta. I think that Rinpoche has a higher level of clairvoyance. I have heard different stories about this, but I will share with you some of my own experience. One time on the day I was going to give a teaching, Rinpoche explained the meaning of a term or word very uniquely to me the day before I was going to teach. I did not recall that word or term was in the section of text that I was teaching. When I was reading that text during the teaching, I saw the words in the text, I was then able to share joyfully Rinpoche's unique insight during the teaching. I'm sure no one told Rinpoche that I was going to teach on that text because he had just come from retreat. It was early morning during breakfast. I also usually do not brag about my work to Rinpoche. I try to work just under the law of karma. Anyhow, even now, I have not told him this story. Maybe I will not. But I'm telling you because Rinpoche is our guru. So if you know a single quality of our guru, it will cause your faith and thereby your realization to increase. And also just recently, I gave a teaching on the Vajrayana sadhana. I started at the beginning of the text and planned to teach through the visualization for mantra accumulation. But when I explained the 4 kilayas and I was ready to teach on the 4 nails and the mantra accumulation, as well as we say in Tibetan and English, the words were on the tip of my tongue. But I look at the clock and I saw there would not be enough time, so I stopped there. Actually, the 4 nails are not explicitly mentioned in the section where I was going to teach them. But the next day, Rinpoche began his teachings at the section where I had stopped and taught the 4 nails through mantra accumulations. So I was imaho. Really imaho. Fourth, Rinpoche's quality of enlightened activities. If I began recounting when Rinpoche's activities started in this human realm, then it will be thousands of years of history. During the time of Buddha, light of the Naga, Rinpoche was a prince named Dupaji. During the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, Rinpoche was Mongolputra, who had the most miraculous powers among all the Buddha's disciples. At the time of Nagarjuna, Rinpoche was Ayandeva, who was great scholar. During the time of the King Sungtsin Gampo, Rinpoche was his minister Galung Rigpa, who was extremely intelligent. Maybe you heard, you know, right? Galung Rigpa, yeah, about his story. When Milarepa was alive, Rinpoche was Rechungpa, who was Milarepa's moon-like disciple. When Lord Jigten Sunggung was alive, Rinpoche was his heart's son, Garchudengpa, who had a great son of cities. And he was one of Lord Jigten Sunggung's 13 disciples who had a golden umbrella. And from Garchudengpa up to now, uh, uh, Garchen Rinpoche has reincarnated many times for the welfare mother sentient beings. In this life, since Rinpoche was child, he started to benefit others, even if just by blowing into their eyes when their eyes had some problems. Also, he helped by giving hand empowerment. Tibetan people ask, please, hand empowerment. That means gurus put their hands on their head. Even before Rinpoche learned how to give ritual empowerments. When Rinpoche grew up, he went from place to place, presided over many dripchins during the day. During the night, he would travel near and far to perform pujas for people who had passed away. In addition, since childhood, Rinpoche tirelessly and endlessly helps others without never thinking about himself. One special quality of Rinpoche is that he doesn't discriminate between religions. For example, in Tibetan Buddhism, there are 4 different lineages. Rinpoche often mentioned that these 4 lineages are like one tree, and each lineage is a part of the tree. Some are the root of the tree, some are the branches, some are the leaves, and some are the fruit. So, Rinpoche wrote a supplication for these 4 lineages. Also, Rinpoche frequently said that we should respect all religions because they all practice compassion and love. And the figures of these religions are the emanations of compassion, Buddha, and Tara. Rinpoche also has very special pure perception, which is that he sees that female with compassion are Tara, and male with compassion are Chinrezi. And then Rinpoche began to travel to Western countries to share the Dharma, which he continues to do to this very day. This is a wonderful and monumental accomplishment because thousands of his disciples have woken up to see that there is a path to liberation from the ocean of samsara. Actually, Rinpoche's story is in the documentary For the Benefit of All Beings, directed by Christina. I have watched that film, and I think it is a great Dharma teaching. So I think you already watched, and if you did not, I think it's so great you watch it. And also, there are many stories of his life in the books, The Lama of Many Lifetimes, which was written by Susu. But today is the occasion for sharing my personal experiences of Rinpoche. In addition, he has given and continue to give the refuge vow to thousands of uh, people around the world. If we think only of this, we can understand Rinpoche's immense ability to benefit others. In the benefit of the refuge vow, it says the merit and the merit of taking the refuge vow has no form. If it had, then the threefold universe is not large enough to contain it. Anyhow, in order to learn one person's life story, we need to observe that person's entire life's activities. But we can gather Rinpoche's entire career from one day of his activities. This means all of his activities appear from the mandala of bodhicitta and the stable realization of the highest view for the benefits of all mother sentient beings. I have shared briefly my experience of Rinpoche. At the same time, I have mentioned different ways that I have interpreted his activities and instructions. I invite you to practice in the same way, but don't follow only my methods. Check for yourselves what has benefit for you. For sure, you will gain great experiences of the Guru. The most important thing is that one, we notice the qualities of the Guru, we bring them to mind and practice according to them. This is what I think. If I have said anything in error, I confess. If my words have had some benefits for you, may this merit become a cause of Rinpoche's long life and ever increasing Dharma activities, and for world peace and all mother sentient beings becoming bodhisattvas and then Buddhas within one life. May the rain of wisdom fall from the generations. May the flowers of compassion blossom on the ground. May the fruition of bodhicitta ripen in every mind. May the bees of all beings gathering the nectar of the Buddha Dharma. Thank you very much. And then there is thank you very much again for listening. So then here some Dharma friends has some Dharma questions, so I will answer on there. First, I will read this answer. Oh, sorry, question. I would like to ask about Dharma offering. In the Tsewang Zimba sadhana, for example, when we offer a Dharma to obstructors, is it sufficient to visualize the Dharma? You don't want to visualize Dharma I mean the bad way of this practice. Actually, there is some way of practice, visualize tormas, of course. But in this case, you should dedicate torma. Actually, yesterday I a little bit talked about that. You dedicate only torma, it's still you need compassion. Compassion is principle. When you dedicate torma, at the same time you dedicate compassionately, then it has benefit. Yesterday I mentioned George Padin Atisha who came to Tibet. By the way, he dedicate torma offering. He visualized compassion Buddha, and then his disciple saw many hungry ghosts gathering there. Also, Malareba also said that this torma dedication is very important, but compassionately. That's its principle. So if we don't have compassion and bodhicitta, we give something to them, but they will not able to take it because of their karma. Because they have lots of anxiety, nervous. Otherwise, they would like to. The hunger ghosts are hunger ghosts, so they're really so much hungry and thirsty. But so at that time, you do the how to say compassionately dedicate, and then if you can, okay, maybe the second question is there are or is there are physical substances that we are present. The main thing is your mind, and also it depends your circumstance. If you have experience how to make torma, you can do it. But if you don't know how to make it, it doesn't matter. You just bring some biscuit, and then you dedicate that. If you don't have both of them, even though you have lots of biscuit, but if because of a circumstance, if pretty hard to throw away, then you don't want to throw them away. You just dedicate mentally inside dedication. That is very important. And then I am not very familiar with the ritual objects, so any clarification on tormas would be appreciated. Yeah, it's I said that, right? Okay, then second question. Are there some student practitioners who should not engage wrathful deity practice? I ask for personal reason and certain feeling, emotions that come up during this practice. Engage wrathful deities, or for me, I'm quite hard to say, oh, you are the person who practice wrathful deities. You are person who practitioner of peaceful deities. I cannot decide that. I cannot say that. It depends with your mind. Your mind tells you clearly how. When you heard about the teachings, wrathful deity or peaceful deity or any kind of deities, then if your faith arises from your mind, that is number one. You can practice that. You can practice means then you will receive empowerment, and then you can practice on that. That means you are the practitioner of wrathful deities. If your mind is a little bit uncomfortable when you see the wrathful deities, tankas, and you read about some sadhanas, or you heard something, if your feeling is uncomfortable, and then you don't You don't need to particularly practice on that. But first mind does not tell you clearly. I mean, first you see wrathful deities Tanka, then you a little bit surprised. What is this? This is a little bit your how to say? It's first thoughts. So you don't stop at that time. This is too early, early to stop the practice. Then you ask questions. What they are doing? Why they are hold swords or some weapons or something like that is so strange things, right? Why they do this? For what reasons? If you ask that, and then teachers answer you clearly on it. After, then still, if the best way is you learn more about that. Learn with practice, not just listen here and go there. Listen and then practice, and then still your mind does not accept it, then probably you practice peaceful yidam deities, something like that. That's it, right? Am I clear this question? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Sunam de tamje zebanye tawanye berana bazene jigana je balan rabaye suben solen roa roa jo sanjuk sunjo romboche maji banam jijer jiba nyamba mi baye gongna gongdan bewa jo